So the first thing they're going to give you is the non-calculator multiple choice. It is 30 questions and you get 60 minutes. What is that rate of change per question? What I want you to do is read a question. If you immediately know what to do, do it. If you don't, skip it. And if you feel like you're skipping a lot of them, fine. Find the ones that you can do. Then go back and do the ones where you can narrow it down. Like I can make this a 50-50 choice. And then when they tell you there's 30 seconds left, you put, listen to me, the same letter for everything that's left, because probability wise, you will get some of them. If you're like A for this one, C for that one, D for that one, no good. Put the same letter for all of them. You got me? Then they're going to give you the calculator multiple choice. It is 15 questions and you get 45 minutes. So what is that rate of change? Why do you get longer per question on calculator versus non-calculator? Button pushing takes time and they don't give you nice functions. They give you really horrible functions. Now, I've never proctored this thing, but I'm guessing that after that part is where they do the break. I'll send your care packages. Okay. Now, what does this add up to points-wise? 45. What they do is they take that 45 and they multiply it by 54 over 45. You'll see why at the end. What cancels out there? What? So it actually ends up being 54 points. So you get a little curve. They curve the multiple choice, which is good. Well, don't do that. If you walked in and put C for everything, you wouldn't get a 0. So I will just probability that I will get at least you're gonna try your best. All right. Then they're gonna give you the calculator free response questions. There are 2 of those. And you get 30 minutes. So it's 15 minutes per question. But they have parts like A, B, C, D. You guys have been doing that all year. Then they're not going to take those questions away from you. You still have access to the questions, but they will make you put the calculator away and they will give you the non-calculator free response questions. There are 4 of those and you get 60 minutes. So it's still 15 minutes per question. So you need to be done with the calculator ones after those 30 minutes because they're going to take the calculator away. So even though you still have access to them, you need to be done because you're going to need the time for the other 4. I don't love how they do this because the non-calculator free response is the hardest part of the exam. And do you see where they put it? When you are tired and exhausted and hungry and want to go to sleep. So you have to have some stamina. Do you understand me? Okay. Those are 9 points each. No matter how many parts there are, they make them worth 9 points each. So if there are 6 questions and they're 9 points each, how many points is that? So do you see why they curve the multiple choice a little bit? It's so that the multiple choice and the free response are each half. Now, this drives me so insane. That adds up to a total of what? 108. I feel like they could have mathematically figured out a way to make it exactly 100 instead of 108. But it is a total of 108 points. Now, these are average cut scores. They don't tell us what they are. We're kind of shooting in the dark. But a 5 is roughly 69 to 108 points. A 69 out of 108 is a 64%. So if you're getting roughly 2/3 of it right, that's a 5. That's as high as you can get. And again, roughly, this is a shot in the dark, but pretty close. If you get between 57 and 68 points, that's about a 4. A 57 out of 108 is a 53%. That's the curve I've been doing all year. Remember, half is good, slightly above half. But if you got a 53%, I counted that like a 4, which I made a B. Like that's how I curved it. All right. I explained that in the beginning of the year. A 3 would be between 45 and 56 points. A 45 out of 108 is a 42%. A lot of schools will take a 3. So if you get about a 42 or above percent, a lot of schools will take that. I'm not saying don't try, you got to work for that 42%, but I'm just saying like if that calms you down at all. A 2 would be between 37 and 44. A 1 would be between 0 and 36. Nobody usually gets a 1 for me. Like I do get some people that end up with 2s if it just wasn't your day or whatever, but 3 or above is what we're shooting for. Okay. Now, the last thing I want to go over is some of the problems that you will typically see on the free response, like they show up consistently every year. The first one is rate in, rate out. It will be on there, guaranteed. People are arriving and leaving the party is what you want to think of. Okay. Now, some other ones that you're likely to see, ones where they give you a table. Oftentimes they'll ask you to do a Riemann sum with that. You can get all the points for those and they're usually worth 2. It's like a gimme 2 points, which is fantastic. That's typically on there. Oftentimes there's a particle motion. That's your velocity, acceleration, moving left, moving right, at rest, all that stuff. That's usually on there. It's usually calculator. All right. There will be a differential equation that you have to solve. Separate the variables, do your antiderivatives plus C initial condition. It will be on there. There will be one on the free response. There will be an accumulation function. Do you remember having to find the areas of all the things? Usually there's a semicircle and some triangles and you have to go and accumulate it. Yeah, all that stuff. Typically with that, there is a candidates test. Do you remember you test your end points and your critical points? That is typically where that shows up. Last year's exam had 2 candidate tests in it. It's gonna be on there. And then the last thing I was gonna say is the sticky note stuff. I know that's not like a real, you know what I'm talking about when I say that though. That's like made up Miss Cole vocabulary, but that's on it. Yes. F of X, remember F of X is and F of X has your statements, your justifications, it'll be on there. F of X is increasing at this place because who's your source? F prime is positive there or whatever. Like those sentences that I drilled you on, gonna be on there. Okay.